to this one and only instalment in the Herodotus Helpline cooking channel. What I'm going to be doing in this very short video is I'm going to be showing you how you can make the Herodotus pudding, which is an easy alternative to the Christmas pudding. This is meant as an accompaniment to the video that Jordan Bailey's done on the channel, which is about the history of the Herodotus pudding. Jordan knows more about this topic than anybody, and I'm just going to be giving you a practical demonstration of how you can do it. As Jordan said in her video, there are lots of different recipes for the Herodotus pudding. It kind of evolved from the original through the 19th century to the present day. The version I'm going to be doing here is a kind of hybrid. It's mostly based on the Brasenose College 1846 recipe because it looked nicer to me, but with one small change. Obviously then it's quite different to the original, and I'll talk you through that as I go through the ingredients. So first of all, we're not going to be cooking it within a disembodied bull like in the original in Herodotus Book 2. But what we are going to be using instead of the animal fat from the bull's stomach is we're going to be using suet, but vegetarian suet because we have a vegan in the house. So here is the Atora packet of suet, 250 grams or roughly 250 grams, which I'll tip in. This is disgusting stuff. It looks like little pellets of fat, which I suspect is what it is. So there you go, there's 250 grams of the suet. I'm going to put in 250 grams also of raisins. I'll mix that all up in a moment. And 250 grams, so 125 grams of breadcrumbs made from Harrison family sourdough bread. There you go. And some figs. So I've taken 4 fresh figs and chopped them up. So here are the 4 figs. And then some peeled, some lemon rind. The recipe says 1 lemon. Lemons were slightly small, so I could have done a little bit more than that. Then another change from the original is we don't have any frankincense in the house, so instead I'm going to be using allspice, as in the 19th century recipe. Just, sorry, I need a bit more of it to loosen it up in there. Sorry about this. 2 teaspoons of allspice, slightly roughly measured. Some honey, 125 grams of honey. This is the change from the Brasenose recipe, which uses soft sugar. I'm using honey instead, which is back to the original Herodotus recipe. So spoon that in, which is going to be lovely to stir up. And then in place of wine, which was poured on in the original, in the course of the sacrifice, I'm going to be using brandy. Cheap cooking brandy, I'm afraid. And we're going to see more of this later on. So 4 tablespoons of brandy. Sorry, and a bit of spillage in addition. That's probably nearer to 5 tablespoonfuls of brandy in the end. So I'm going to mix that up. And then, again, following the Brasenose recipe, I'm going to add 2 eggs just to help to bind it all together, otherwise it's still slightly dry even with the brandy. So 2 eggs. And then I'll stir that all up. Okay, so we've mixed up the mixture, and what you have now in the large bowl is a great mixture that doesn't necessarily look very attractive, but don't be worried about that. It looks a little bit like kind of squelchy chicken feed. And then the next phase is to cook it. So for that, I'm using a pudding basin like this. I'm actually going to split mine into 2, which affects the cooking time, and I've lightly greased it on the inside. I haven't greased it a lot because there's quite a lot of grease in this already. And I'm going to fill that up, so do that now, and then afterwards, while I do this, I'll tell you about the boiling. So I'm going to fill this up fairly full to the top, and then pack it in a little bit so that it cooks nicely. And then I'm going to cover it with a muslin cloth and tie that on, and then boil it just like any other steamed pudding, like a Christmas pudding. The one thing I'd say is about boiling time. If you go back to the original Eliza Acton recipe, She says that the time is 14 hours, although she then says that she ventures to suppose that it might not take as long as that and that 7 hours would do. It then slightly kind of shrinks through the 19th century, so you end up with 5 hours. Because I'm splitting it, I'm going to do it for slightly less time. So I'm doing one large one and one small one to give to friends. So I'm going to compact that in there. So I'm going to boil it for 3 to 4 hours and see how it goes, because that's long enough for a Christmas pudding. So I think it's long enough for this. So there you go, it's all packed in. And I'm then going to take this little muslin cloth that we use for Christmas puddings, put that on there, and off camera, because I'm going to make a hash of it, I'm going to tie this, this string around the top, and then boil it in a large pan of boiling water, but obviously you can't put that straight on the base, so just like Christmas puddings, I'm putting it on a little metal platform on the inside so as to keep it safe. Hello, welcome back. So it's been several hours, and this beautiful object here has been steaming away. I had to top up the water every so often, but now it's done. So now we're going to unveil it and see what it looks like. I'm going to probably have to cut the string. Yep, and here goes. Well, it looks promising. Looks promising. So now I'm going to try and turn it upside down and hope that it comes out in one nice swoop and doesn't collapse. So, okay, so now's the moment. I'm going to try and take it up. I already know this isn't going to go quite right because some of it has not come out. So we're going to pass over that. I think the tip here is that I probably ought to put more grease and not to have been restrained about it, and also probably I ought to run my knife around the outside of the bowl before I paint it up. But it still looks magnificent, but just slightly messy. Now, how do you eat it? That's the next question. You can go purist, and you can have it with nothing. You can also kind of do the Herodotus thing and fast and self-flagellate and eat it out of a I think I might have said disembodied earlier. I didn't mean a disembodied bull, I mean a disemboweled bull. So sorry if I got that wrong earlier. So you can do all of that if you want to, but I'm afraid we're going to be a bit more civilised here and not do that. So because there's lots of flames in the original because of the sacrifice, I'm going to put a little bit more brandy on top of it. And I'm going to set light to it, just like you might with a Christmas pudding. For a little bit of effect and to warm it all up. And then I'm going to have it, so there are different ways in which you can, different sauces you can have with it. In the Victorian recipes they have wine sauce, there's also talk of custard as a possibility. I'm just going to have simple cream, and this is plant cream because I don't eat milk, so I can have a little taste of it and see what it's like. So there we go, bit of cream. I'm shocked and amazed to say it's actually delicious. It's not too sweet, it's less sweet than Christmas pudding, but it's fruity and spicy, and somehow it's got a kind of roundedness to it. I won't go on too much about it, but it's actually delicious. So I recommend it highly, which is not how I was expecting this video to end. Okay, thank you.